بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Inshallah, today we'll continue our tafsir in this location as we have this tafsir started before. It was started at the time of the COVID actually. We started in Surah Al-Baqara and it was remote. And this will be a continuation of the tafsir. So it's not going to be brand new, but it will be new in this location. So I would like to thank you everybody here for joining us. Jazakumullah khairan for coming. And inshallah we'll make sure that this will happen every week until we finish as much as we can. Allah knows how long and how much we can finish up from the tafsir. But inshallah we'll continue with the tafsir of Surah Al-Baqarah. So as we said, we stopped last time at Ayah 226, and inshallah today we'll continue with the tafsir. So, but I wanted to explain a little bit about the method that we have used and we went through during the tafsir, just to explain it to you since you're a new audience here. So we'll explain what method that we've been doing, and inshallah we'll continue doing the same method. The method that we will use for the tafsir is number one, explain the meaning of the ayat. The meaning based on the Arabic understanding of the language. So that's the first thing that we will have to start with. Secondly, we'll explain the occasion or the munasabah, the occasions of the ayat, and also that's part of the tafsir. And then any ahkam or rules are coming from those ayat. We'll go through those ahkam and the meaning of the ahkam that we will have to follow and apply in our life. And if there is anything related to the current reality, inshallah, we'll go over that and try to link it with the reality that we live in today. So this is the method that we will go through. And the tafsir that we're using, or the resource that we're using, is actually, let's call it, they call it the ulama, the mother of the tafsir, which is Ibn Kathir, Al-Qurtubi, and Al-Tabari, and other scholars who've been actually going through or have done a lot of tafsir. But this will be our main resource of the tafsir. So anyone even would like to go back to some of the tafsir, you could go back to those books as well. So inshallah today we'll continue with this ayah بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين يؤلون من نسائهم تربص أربعة أشهر فإن فاءوا فإن الله غفور رحيم. Those who swear not to have intercourse with their wives must wait for 4 months. And if they change their mind, then Allah is certainly all forgiving and most merciful. The ayah talks about the ila. The ila in the Arabic language it means swear, or it means oath. The general meaning or the linguistic meaning of ila, it means oath, making an oath. Now in this ayah, ila means making an oath or making a swear not to have intercourse with the wife for 4 months. Now, again, why we're saying 4 months? Because the Arab before that, they used to do that, and they call that also ila, that they swear on their wives for 4 months not to touch the wives. So, now there is a certain ahkam coming from this ayah. Number one, if someone make an oath in his wife not to touch her or have a relation with the wife for 4 months, and he break his oath before 4 months, then the hukum of this is not ila. It's not called ila. It's called an oath, like a break in your oath, which is al-yamin, right? And that breaking an oath in Islam, in the Sharia, it has kaffara. As you know, kaffara, that you have to do something in order to be forgiven for an oath that you have made. In order to break your oath, there is a kaffara that you have to do. The kaffara al-yamin, as we know from the previous ayat actually in Surah Al-Baqarah, the kaffara are 4 things that you can do one of. Number 1 is feeding 10 poor people, or buy them a cloth or garment for 10 people, or free a slave, if there is a slave. Of course, today we know that there is no slave that you can free. Or if you cannot any of those, you fast 3 days, 3 consecutive days. Not continuously, just as you fast in Ramadan, but 3 days. So this is the kaffara of the oath that you break. So again, if you break the oath before the 4 months, then you just pay the kafara, and that's not considered or called ila. The Prophet ﷺ have the hadith in al-Bukhari says, آلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على نسائه شهرا فنزل ل29 وقال الشهر 29. So the Prophet ﷺ, he made an oath on his wives for 1 month, and then after a month he actually came back and he finished, and he said the month is 29 days. So he basically did not even break his yameen, and he continued after the oath that he made on his wives, and he continued having the relation with his wives after that. Number 2, if someone make an oath and the 4 months exceeded the 4 months, the 4 months that he made the oath for passed, then what he has to do, there's 2 options that he can do. Number 1, and this is what called ila. The 4 months passed, this is what called ila. The 2 options that he has, either he go back to his relation with the wife as normal, right? And the ayah says, فَإِنْ فَاءُ means if they come back, which means come back to the regular relation with the wife. فَإِنْ فَاءُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If they come back, then Allah will forgive them. So the first option, after the 4 months, that he will go back to the relation with wife as usual. The second option, that he has to divorce the wife. He has to divorce her. Now, what if he does not choose any of those? He doesn't go back to the relation with the wife and he doesn't divorce. Then what happens? Then the judge, a Shari'i judge, will force him to make the talaq, will force him to divorce the wife, because he cannot keep the wife, as they call it, mu'allaqa, like hanging there. It's not a wife, a regular wife, normal wife, and it's not divorced. You cannot have a woman in your house, not your wife, and it's not divorced. You can't. Either you divorce her or you go back to the relation with her as usual. Is that clear? Okay. Then the next ayah, it says, وَإِنْ عَزَمُوا الطَّلَاقَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. If they decide to divorce, then Allah is indeed all hearing and all knowing. If they intend and they are willing to make divorce, then they would have to make a divorce. The man has to make the divorce. Now, someone probably asked a question, oh, what if the 4 months passed and he doesn't divorce his wife? Does she consider divorced, or that considered divorce automatically? No. He would have to make a divorce. He would have to say the words of the divorce, right? Or he would have to sign up for divorce. As we know, you go to the court and you file for the divorce and so on. But he would have to make that divorce. It doesn't happen automatically, right? As we know, like if someone divorces his wife, that you have a certain period to bring her back to your marriage life, right? We'll talk about that probably in the next ayat. So, by the way, I'm sure many of you would have a lot of questions. So if anyone has any question, please make a note of your question now so you don't forget. And then after the session, inshallah, we'll do the Q&A. We'll answer all the questions. But for now, we'll continue with the tafsir. And if anyone has any question, please make a note so you don't forget, because there will be many things that we will be mentioning, right? And then the next ayah says, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَن يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ إِن كُنَّ يُؤْمِنَّ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Divorced women must wait 3 monthly cycles before they can remarry. It is not lawful for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs, if they truly believe in Allah and the last day, and their husband reserve the right to take them back within that period if they desire reconciliation. Women have rights similar to those men equitably, although men have degree of responsibility above them, and Allah is Almighty and All Wise. So here now the ayah talks about al-mutallaqat, which is the divorced woman. The mutallaqat are the divorced woman. Now the mutallaqat in this ayah, it means a certain type of woman, a certain type of mutallaqat. Not every mutallaqat, because mutallaqat or divorce, it's a very wide meaning. It has a lot of women could fall under mutallaqat. But this ayah only talks about the free woman, not the slave. The free, not the slave, right? And the woman that they have relation with their husbands. They have the intercourse relation with their husband. Those are the mutallaqat that meant in this ayah. Only those mutallaqat, okay? So not to mix it or confuse it with other type of mutallaqat, because we will talk a little bit now about the other type of mutallaqat, right? For example, there is mutallaqa or mutallaqat, divorced women, that are very old, and they call them ya'isna min al-mahid, that they don't have any monthly period anymore, because she's old, she's over a certain age, as you know, and she won't have any more monthly period. So those mutallaqat, they have different hukum, by the way. They don't wait 3 months as the ayah mentioned, or 3 quru, because we will talk about the quru. So those mutallaqat, the old women who don't have the monthly period, are not included in this ayah, because they have a different hukum. And the young women or the young wives who do not have monthly period at all, didn't even start that monthly period, those are not included in that previous ayah. Where the hukum for those old women and young women who don't have that monthly, those are in different ayah. The ayah for that one, it says وَاللَّائِي يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ مِن نِسَائِكُمْ إِنِ ارْتَبْتُمْ فَعِدَّتُهُنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَاللَّائِي لَمْ يَحِضْنَ وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَن يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. It says, no longer accept menstruation among your women if you doubt, then their period is 3 months. And also those who have not menstruations. So the old women, right, and the young women, and the old women that you're not sure if they still have the monthly or not, their iddah, now here is talking about the iddah, their iddah is 3 months, right? The too young and too old, their iddah is 3 months, right? Now look, you will ask, or someone asks like, oh, what's the difference between 3 months and 3 monthly cycles? Oh, there is a big difference. There is a huge difference, and we'll talk about that. Even though it says that the first ayah that we said, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ, يَتَرَبَّصْنَ, wait 3 months, that means what? The period, the iddah. The iddah, which is the iddah, the woman that has to wait after divorce, right, until she can get married. So ثلاثة قروء, so those women, the free women, right, as we said, the free woman, they have, their iddah is 3 monthly period. The old woman, again, the old woman, or the young woman who don't have even the monthly, their iddah is 3 months. It's not 3 monthly cycles, no, it is 3 months only, right? And then the hamil, the woman, the pregnant woman, her iddah is what? Her iddah is to deliver what she has in the womb. That's her iddah. Now, the iddah of the woman that she lost her husband passed away. What is her iddah? Her iddah is what? 4 months and 10 days. That's the woman, the widow, who lost her husband. Her iddah is 4 months and 10 days. So you see there is a big differences, right? Between the iddah of the mutallaqa, the regular mutallaqa, let's call it, right? And the iddah of the pregnant woman, right? So the iddah of the pregnant woman is what? Is to deliver her baby. Maybe it could be like 2 weeks or 2 days. Once she had the baby, her iddah is over. It could be 9 months, right? If she had a baby for 9 months, her iddah will be 9 months, or maybe 10 months. Maybe some woman, will wait for 10 months. Whatever the time for the baby to come out, this is her iddah. And now you probably would start thinking, oh, it seems like that's something related to the womb, that the womb has to be clear. That's the purpose, right? As you see, you probably will understand the wisdom from that. It's not the hukum, but it's the wisdom behind that the womb has to be free, right? So now, the amma, which is the slave woman, right? What is her iddah? Now, the amma is different. The amma, her talaq, is 2 talqa, right? 2 talqa. Now the regular woman, the free woman, what's her talaq? How many? 3, right? But the slave is 2. The iddah of the slave woman also, what? It's 2 period. Not 3, it's 2 period. Why is that? Probably someone have a question. Why is that? We didn't have a certain explanation or ruling in the ayat why the free different than the slave. We didn't even know that. So we'll just leave it as is. We're not going to go on that because we didn't have anything to explain why, right? But we know the free woman different than the slave woman. Now there is another type of mutallaqa or divorced woman that she never had any relation with the husband. Never touched her, basically, right? So what is her iddah? That woman doesn't have a iddah. The ayah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نكحتم المؤمنات ثم طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها. So that means the woman that's been married, but it's not touched by the husband, she doesn't have iddah. Now you have to prove that, of course, in front of a judge to explain, or she has to prove it that she was untouched, right? So that woman doesn't even, now she's divorced. So look how many divorced women that we mentioned so far. We said free woman, slave woman, old woman, young woman. Those are all divorced. Untouched woman. Each one of those women, they have their own iddah. So that tells you how much the ahkam of Islam are very, very detailed and very explaining everything. It's not every divorced woman is the same thing. So this ayat explaining the differences between the divorced woman and the iddah for each woman. Now, again, the iddah is the period that the woman has to wait until she can marry a different husband after she get divorced or after she lost her husband or husband her died. Now the question is, what is the wisdom behind the mutallaqa, that three period, right? And the widow, her iddah is 4 and 10 days. Someone might ask this question, right? So the scholars actually, they ask the question and they try to answer it. But the answer is not a reasoning behind it. It's not why, but they try to understand the wisdom behind, the hikmah behind this, okay? So this is what we also try to understand. What is the difference between that divorce and that widow? So they're saying, number one, the widow woman, she lost her husband by force. Basically, her husband died and she doesn't even, and her feeling about that is very, very, very strong emotions, right? And she's connected and she was living with the husband and all of a sudden she lost him. So that's why Allah gave her a longer period, a longer time to reset and resettle and, and to calm down, and her sorrow will go away. So that's why, number one, Allah will give her a little bit longer period, basically to forget or try to forget a little bit of that sadness. Number two, they're saying those 4 months usually the baby, if the woman has a baby in her womb, those 4 months the baby will start moving because he will be given the soul, right, which is the ruh. So that will be so he will be a human. He will given the soul within those 4 months, and he will start moving within the mother womb within the 4 months. Now, if there was a widow, right, her husband doesn't even exist and he's gone, right? So that's why Allah gave it in more time for the people to know, right? That, or the woman to know, or the family of the husband also to know that the baby is start moving. So that's also a period was given to make things clear what's inside in the mother womb or in the wife wombs. So that period, it will give it enough and more time to make things more clear, because the baby will start moving in the womb. You see that? Now, the wisdom behind the iddah, as we said, is to clear the womb, the rahim, to make the rahim clear, right? Now, for the divorced woman, 3 months or 3 cycles, it will be enough to clear the rahim, right? So 1 cycle, 2nd cycle, 3rd cycle, it's kind of like confirmed that there is nothing in the mother womb, right? That's why Allah gave the woman iddah 3 cycles, right? But for the widow, He gave her 4 cycles or 4 months and 10 days. Why? Because wanted to make definite now. Now in that period for the divorce, regular divorced woman, 3 months, it could be, there might be some things there in the womb, right? But 4 and 10 days, this is like confirming there is absolutely nothing in the wife womb. So look at the ahkam again. Allah wanted to make sure the nasil, right? The generations are not mixed up. Everything is very clear and very understand, like everyone understands the rules of Allah, to make things very clear. This is your son, or this is the father's son. This is the son of this man. This is the son of that man. So all of this iddah rules is to explain and clarify these things very clearly to the people. Number 4 or 5, wisdom, that they're saying, usually women again will take the one who lose her husband, right, whether in an accident or in a battlefield or anything, or he was got sick or anything happened. So that will be a very, very sorrow, very sad for her. So Allah will give her more time to recover, right? And more time to recover physically and emotionally as well. Also, they're saying if the widow get married right after 3 months, that will hurt the family of the husband, right? So that's why also Allah gave the family of the husband, the died husband, the one who passed away, give the wife more time, because if she get married right after the 3 months, now we'll talk about that. It's not actually 3 months. We said three monthly, right? Those 3 monthly period, it could be short, less than 3 months, by the way. They could be actually like 2 months. Some of the ulama saying it could be, the 3 cycles could be 3 months, 2 months only. So if he gave her that period, that will hurt the emotions of the family of the man who passed away, right? So they will see like, oh, look at our son wife, she married right away after he passed away. She was waiting for him to die, and so that might hurt the family of the husband. So that's why Allah gave her 4 months and 10 days again. It's a longer period, right? And last thing, if the married woman and got divorced, if there is something suspicious, right, in the womb of that mother, the husband, because the one who divorced, he's existing, he's alive, and he could refuse that, or he could argue with this, or he could say, no, I don't agree with that, or because he's alive, right? But the one who passed away, he doesn't know the situation of his wife because he passed away. That's why Allah make it 4 months longer period to make things are clear and definite. Definitely clear. You see that wisdom? Again, these are all not reasoning behind the hukum, and it's only wisdom that the scholars mentioned. They said these are wisdom that we can understand what could be the wisdom behind the different, 4.5 months for the widow and 3 cycles for the divorced woman. Now let's talk about the quru. Quru in qir, the word, the one for the quru is qir. And qir in the Arabic language means, it has 2 meanings. One, it means tuhur, and the other meaning of the qir, it means haid. The tuhur, which is the purity, and the haid is the menstruation. Okay? Now these are 2 opposite things, right? It could be purity or menstruation. Now let's use the word haid because it's supposed to be clear, because we're going to use this word a lot, right? So I'm going to use the word haid, which is the menstruation, which is when the blood start coming on the woman, right? So the word qir, again, it has 2 meanings. One means purity and one means haid. What is the difference between purity and haid then? Now some of the scholars like Al-Ahnaf, Abu Hanifa and Ahmad and his school, they're saying the qir means al-hayd. Al-Malik and Al-Shafi'i, they say al-qir means al-tuhur, which is the purity. Now what's the difference between the purity and the hayd? The hayd is like when the blood start on the woman. That's the hayd. When the blood start, from that moment, the hayd start. What is the purity or the tuhur? It's when it finishes, when it's done. How long this period might take? It might take 5 days, 1 week. Some women it might take 2 weeks or so, right? So that's very long. That's a very big gap between hayd and tuhur. It's a big difference, by the way. Very huge gap. If you define the qir as hayd, it has one meaning. And if you define it as tuhur, which is a purity, it has a completely different time. And that gap, it could be like 15 days or more. So that's why it's very important to know what is the meaning of the qir in this ayah. Now again, some of the scholars, they said it means purity, and some of them they said it means hayd. Now we think, as the Ahnaf and the Hanabila saying, it means in this ayah, it means qir. Why we're saying that? Because there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ explaining the meaning of the qir. The Prophet ﷺ explains the meaning of the qir. So a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ and she said, Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh. She came to the Prophet ﷺ and she said, Inni imra'atun ustahad. Like, I am a woman, I have my monthly period and I don't get pure. Do I stop praying? أفأدع الصلاة? Do I stop praying? فقال عليه الصلاة والسلام لا دع الصلاة أيام إقرائك. Leave the prayer or stop praying during your qir. During your qir. Now he explained here, qir means hayd. So he said, stop your salah during your hayd. Qir means hayd. And that's why we're saying qir, it means in this ayah, it means hayd. Now it could mean, it means purity in different ayat or in different locations, but in this ayah, in this meaning, and the ayah of the talaq and the mutallaqat, it means al-hayd. It means al-hayd, which is when the blood starts. That's what the qir means. And as we said before, it could be different between the hayd, between that meaning and the other meaning. It could be like 15 days or even more. Imam Malik and actually other scholars, they say the 3 monthly cycles for the woman could be short to 60 days. And if it's long, it could be all one year, one Shari'i year, or one Hijri year. So imagine The ayah that says what? The mutallaqat, they will have to wait 3 cycles. So those 3 cycles means, or it could be 60 days, or it could be 1 year. See how big is the gap? Like very big, and that depends on the woman. Some women, they might have some like physical problems, some medical problems, so they might be extended to really 1 year. So the ulama are saying it's between 60 days to 1 year. So that means the widow, the divorced woman, her iddah could be between 60 days to 1 year, right? So that tells you how we see sometimes differences between the scholars in understanding the ahkam. Now look at this. This is an example. If you understand qir' with this meaning, you will have that understanding as a purity, right? If you understand the qir' means hayd, the hukum for that, it's a big difference. So it could be like really a big difference between this meaning and that meaning. So, but now, which one is right or which one is wrong? Now we have our understanding. We as Muslim, that's why each alim, each scholar have his own understanding based on the linguistic meaning, based on the understanding of the linguistic meaning, right? Does that mean he's wrong or the other one is right? That's why we're saying this is dhanni, right? This is hukum dhanni. That means it's not 100%, right? So this alim has a hukum, has an understanding, and the other scholar has a different understanding. And whoever has the stronger dalil, we saying this is the right hukum based on what we understand, right? So that's the difference between the ruling in Islam for the ahkam, right? For the ahkam dhanniya. And when we talk about the aqidah has a different, aqaid has to be definite. Always the aqaid understanding and the hukum for the aqaid is always definite. It cannot be 2 different understandings. But I just wanted to explain that meaning of the differences between the scholars. And then the next ayah says, the same ayah says, وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَن يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ. The woman do not have a right to keep anything in her womb secretly. She doesn't have the right to keep anything in her womb secretly. Why? Because what in her womb now is belong to the husband, whether he's divorced, whether he divorced her or he passed away. So that baby in the womb or anything in the womb that belongs to the husband or his family, right? So that's why it is haram. It is haram for a woman to keep secret what she has in her womb. She cannot keep that secretly if she get divorced, of course, or she become widow. She cannot have anything in her womb secretly because that doesn't belong to her anymore, right? And then the ayah says, وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ. Now the husband, he has the right to get the wife back, to bring her back to the normal marriage life, right? He's the one who will take that decision to bring her back or even divorce, right? And then the other part of the ayah says, in aradu islaha, if they want to repair the relation between them. And here the ayah, it's kind of encouraging both of them for the good relations. So Allah always encourages the good relations to the people, right? To the married people. In aradu islaha, yurida, right? Ayusliha. If they want to bring or repair the problem or fix the problem, Allah is always encouraging to that direction, that always wife and husband should take care of the relation, have the strong relation. Allah is always encouraging to that direction because Allah wanted to protect the family, wanted to make the family always strong. Because problems could happen between people, right? And it could be divorce. They could divorce sometimes, right? And they could divorce for one time or second time. So Allah will give them a chance to come back to their normal relations, right? And then the next says, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. The woman has a right similar to those of men equitably. So both of them has the right, then both of them have responsibilities. As the wife, she has rights, but also she has responsibilities that she has to do. And the husband has rights, but also he has responsibilities, right? As the Prophet ﷺ said, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Every one of you is responsible for the people that he has to take care of, right? Ibn Abbas said for this ayah, he says, إني لا أتزين لامرأتي كما تتزين لي. So I like to see my wife in the best looking, right? And this is the right of the husband, that he will see his wife in the best looking. And he said, I will make myself and dress the best to my wife as I would like to see her in the best looking. So that also she has the right to see you in a very good looking. So it doesn't mean that, yes, a woman, she has to take care of herself for the husband. Also the husband has to take care of himself for his wife, because that's also her right. And that's what Ibn Abbas explained this ayah, the meaning of this ayah. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. If you want your wife to take care of your house, to take care of herself for you, you will take care of the house and take care of yourself for her as well. So look at the great relation Allah making between the wife and the husband within this great family that is building. And it says, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. Men have a degree of responsibility above them. What is that degree? Why the man has a higher degree? And this is in the same ayah. وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. The man has a higher degree. But that degree doesn't mean they are the man better than the woman. Allah doesn't say that. He says, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. As we said, this is a responsibilities, right? So the man is responsible in the house. That's why he is higher degree, because his responsibility is more than the woman responsibility. That's why he's higher. So that daraja, Al-Qurtubi, for example, explained that daraja, and he says the man has this daraja by his, number one, he's stronger, right? And he's the one who spent the money in the house, and he's the one who has to pay the diya, the blood money. If there is a blood money in the family, who would pay that blood money in the family? Who would pay it? The men would have to pay, not the woman, right? The man has a higher, in some situations, not all situations. In some situations, actually, they have higher inheritance than the woman. Why? Because their responsibility is higher. They're responsible to spend. They're responsible to financially support. That's why they get more in some situations, not all the situations of the inheritance. The men, they have to go for the jihad. The women, they don't, right? The men, they go for jihad to defend the Islam, to defend the ummah, and they might pass away, right? And get killed in the jihad. Women do not. So all of these make the men higher, but it doesn't make them better. So this is very important for the men to understand. Allah doesn't say, I never said the men are better than women. Allah will never say that. But Allah says the men are more responsible, and their responsibility is higher than the woman. That's why sometimes He gives the man in inheritance more than the woman, because they're more responsible. They will have to spend. The women don't have to spend, right? They have to pay the blood money. Women don't have to pay the blood money. So that's why they are higher degree, as Allah mentioned, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. So I want us to understand this meaning. And it doesn't give the man like a higher status over the woman, because some women are much better than men in the scale of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But see, here we need to understand the responsibilities and the duties of the man and the woman in this life. So that's what Allah is explaining in this ayah, why the women have a higher degree than the men. And again, as we said, the higher one is also responsible, as Ibn Abbas said, the higher one is also responsible to take care of the woman and be the one who really taking care of the house and taking care of the family, the children, and everyone in that house, because he is the one who is responsible for that house. So here we are concluding this end of the ayats. So inshallah we will stop here and we'll continue on next week. After that, inshallah we'll have a Q&A open for that. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.